Hi, 8th grade. It's Miss Dodd. Good morning. Today we are going to be learning about an important person in Louisiana history named Huey Pierce Long. And you've probably heard a little bit about him if you've ever gone on the bridge, the Huey Long Bridge. It was named after him. Okay, so the very first thing that I want you to know about about Huey Long, is that he was from Wynn Parish. He was born in the late 1800s, so he's from the north of Louisiana, and he did two very important things in Louisiana. He brought controversy and change. Okay, so he was a very complicated man, and people have very diverse opinions about him. There were two types of people during his tenure, during the time in which he ran as governor: those who loved him and those who hated him. And his reputation as the governor in Louisiana will be infamous forever. If you ask somebody who a politician from Louisiana is, most likely they will say Huey Long. So here's a picture of him. He was a very charismatic man, which means he was larger than life, had a big personality, and was very persuasive. Okay, so he was the seventh of 9 children in a farm-owning middle-class family. He was born, like I said, late 1800s, 1893. And he used to say that he grew up in a log cabin because he wanted people to think he came from humble origins. But that's actually not true. He grew up in quite a nice house in the middle of town. Okay, so when he was in school, he was extremely ambitious. When he was in middle school, so around your age, he decided that he had enough of middle school. So he went on the first day of school and enrolled himself in the 8th grade. In fact, skipping 7th grade, and the teachers just let him. And then he was kicked out of high school. So senior year, he spread a publication denouncing the teachers. So he was kicked out of high school. Then he went to law school at Tulane, but decided that he was getting bored. And so he took the bar exam, which is the law school exam, early. He arranged to have it privately administered. And then he decided to become a lawyer. Okay, so as you can see, sorry, I had to change locations here. As you can see, Huey Long was extremely ambitious, and he was kind of a go-getter. So, what was his legacy? What did Huey Long do? He built the state capitol in Baton Rouge. He said that it wasn't stately enough, so he wanted to build this long building at the bottom and then a huge tower coming out of it. And it's actually the tallest state capitol building in America because of him. He also built the governor's mansion in Baton Rouge. He said that he wanted to be living in a governor's palace when he was governor, that would help prepare him for the feeling of the White House. So he built this kind of after the White House. And what else did he do? Oh, one important thing that he did was he gave free textbooks to Louisiana children. So when it was in the 1930s, children did not have textbooks free of charge. And so he decided to supply that. So here's a political cartoon of that. You'll have to go home and stay until you get the books. And this Tommy says, "I can't help it." And then another kid is saying, "I'm so sorry for him." But now with Governor Long's way, there'll be no delay. Everyone has free books. And the little boy Tommy is very happy. He has books. Okay, so he gave free books to school children. So what you need to know about him is that he was the governor of Louisiana and he was a U.S. senator. When he was governor, he was a very fierce campaigner. Like I said, he was larger than life. So he drove around in a truck with like bullhorns blaring out his campaign speech, and he would visit people's houses. And he was very much the man of the poor and the rural farmer. So that's very, very important. His main supporters came from people who lived in the rural countryside. He wanted to think of himself as a man of the people. But the way that he went about being governor, like I said, he built this giant mansion for himself, and he wanted to be a great man. So people were very angry with some of the things that he did. He was corrupt. He would anyone that was campaigning for him had to give him a cut of the profits. And so people wanted to impeach him, meaning that the other state senators wanted to kick him out of office. And so his brother actually went around this state house, and got all these signatures to prevent his impeachment. So he was able to stay as governor. But if people want to impeach you, it means you're pretty controversial. Okay, so he was governor of Louisiana. He did a lot of things. He was the man of the poor and the rural farmer. Then he was the U.S. Senator from 1932 to 1935. His main campaign was the Share the Wealth populist policy, and he advocated for the poor. Like I said, he was a man of the people. Something else that you need to know that he did was he put a lot of taxes on oil companies to raise money. And he also was a man who he built some of the first highways in Louisiana. Now, why am I putting that under the U.S. Senator box instead of the governor box? Well, when he was a U.S. Senator, he still was pulling a lot of strings in Louisiana, and he was able to continue to tax the oil companies then, and also continue to work on some of his public projects. But his Share the Wealth policy, in which he wanted to destroy income inequality in the U.S., was extremely popular. Okay, so what happened to our friend, little Huey Long here? Well, Huey was a very controversial man, and he declared he would run for president in 1935, and 1 month later, he was assassinated. Now, some people think that the assassin, who was a doctor, was crazy, and it wasn't necessarily true that the assassination didn't happen. It was actually an accident. But we can rest assured that Huey Long had a lot of enemies. He was assassinated because he was just a larger-than-life man. Tomorrow we're going to debate a little bit more about whether Huey Long was right in what he did. We're going to read a little bit more about some of the corrupt things that he did. But the main takeaways I want you to know about are the state capitol in Baton Rouge, the governor's mansion, the textbooks to school children, and then this. He advocated for the poor. He taxed oil companies, and some of the first highways in Louisiana were built by him. So as you can see, he did a lot of good things, and he did it through perhaps some unsavory methods. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Have a great day.